Hey there, Computer 2 students. This is Mr. Dunaway talking at you. And there's a nice shot of my nice, dirty, unorganized desktop. But I just thought I would start here and we could walk through this lesson together and you guys kind of make the changes in your Word document that you're going to open here in a second along with me. I've done you the favor of creating a template so you don't have to do a bunch of typing to catch up with what we're doing, to kind of get the point. I wanted this video just to be a few of my favorite things I've learned recently about Word that I think are pretty cool tricks for you to have up your sleeve to create some pretty dynamic papers down in your future to go here. So let's start with just going to get the document I created. So go to Start down here. And just follow along with me by splitting the screen or whatever with your video. Go to Computer. And you need to go down here to Computer, open that up. If you don't see it, it might look like that on your computer. Open that thing up. Go to the O drive, CST. Scroll down to the Dunaway folder. Computers 2, that's your class. Word. Table of Contents, Video, Lesson. Double click that. And you should get this document on your screen. It starts with this is my title page, and you're going to do some editing with this, so you are going to have to do a save as. So go over there to File, Save As, Browse, and this really needs to go on your M drive there. So yours will look different from mine, I think. You probably just have, I'm not exactly sure what yours will look like. I don't know if you have this CST folder or not. If you do, just save it in there. And you can add your name to the file name if you want to. You'll also upload a copy to me here in the future, okay? And then hit save, okay? And that will create a new document for you. You might have to put a number at the end of it or something. I don't know if you'll have to change something or not. It works a little differently for me. Now, with your new document you just saved, you can do some editing on this and save it. And if you don't save it, you might be able to edit it, but you'll have to save it later anyway. So let's get that out of the page. What I wanted to do was go through some a few advanced features here that I'd like you to see. So what I did here is I just kind of listed some things, like pretend for a moment that I was actually writing a book about my interests here, and I would start out with a title page, and then after the title page I would have a table of contents. Chapter 1 is titled My Favorite Sports Teams. And then that would be like the Kansas Jayhawks, some of my favorite Jayhawk players, Kansas City Royals. Imagine these were like full chapters, like maybe Kansas Jayhawks. I'm talking about my experience going to games when I was a student at KU and how exciting they were, and some of the Jayhawk players that I really liked. And maybe with the Kansas City Royals, I could talk about the history of my experiences with the Royals, which includes the 1985 World Series. And getting to know the players. One time I got a George Brett baseball bat that he'd used in a game. That was a pretty cool thing. I'll tell you about some of my favorite players. So what this is just like a list of caption things, and that's where chapter 2 would start. So let's say I wanted to turn this into a book and organize it. So we're just going to kind of go through the process of that and creating a table of contents with it and how to see things that are in your document. One thing I would like you to do is go up. You should be on the Home tab. There's this little backwards P, that paragraph symbol. I'd like you to click on that, and all of a sudden you're going to see a bunch of stuff open on your screen. That's really handy for you to know. That button shows you basically everything that you have typed, including things that you don't see. So if it's doing something really weird and you don't know why, you click on that right there and you can see where you've hit return, where there's a space. For example, I hit return after all of these lines, and that's a paragraph symbol right there. So that's something that you need to know. Also, where there was a space, you'll see a little dot that's telling you that I hit the space bar there. If I hit more spaces, you're going to see a little dot to represent every space that I hit. So it shows everything that's going on behind the scenes, and when we get into formatting, that is really handy for us to be aware of. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and turn that on for now, and we'll work a little bit with that on, and we might turn it off later, but I'd like you to just get used to seeing that stuff. It'd be good for you. Okay, first thing we're going to do is create a title page here with this line right there. So I think I'm going to hit return again, so go ahead and follow along with me. Hit return there, and I'm going to go over here to Insert tab, and I'm going to create a page break. So that here, this page is basically going to just be a title page. So let's go up and we'll just do it, make it real quick because it's not really about that. Let's just maybe create a different font, and we want to make it really large. So I'll just go 72. This is my title page. And we'll just put that in the middle. Maybe let's put it down in the middle of the page, just something like that. You can pick a different font if you want, just put it in the middle of the page. Now notice I hit, again, these two symbols. That means I hit paragraph twice. That will not show up when I print it, by the way. But notice I hit that paragraph symbol twice, but nothing down here changed because the page break is still on that page. Now if I hit return so much and that page break goes down to the first line of the next page, then everything's going to skip down to the next page there. So that's one nice thing about page breaks is it basically means that's all that's going to be on my page, and it doesn't affect anything unless that page break moves to the next page. All right, table of contents will be on this page here, and I'm going to hit return a couple of times, and I'm going to just leave that for now and come back to it, but I would like to input another insert another page break, so do that for me. And you'll notice I do have this one extra paragraph line there, and if I don't want that, I can just click on that chapter 1 right in front of the C. I can hit return, and now there's no longer an extra return on that line right there. Okay, so I want to get into creating a table of contents for all this book I've written, right? So let's just start here at chapter 1. So if I were starting chapter 1 right here, so it would probably just say like my favorite team sports, and then that would be the first thing in my table of contents. I'm going to leave chapter 1 on there, so it'll just help us see what's happening when we go to make that table of contents. And then I want to go and find the table of contents icon, and that's real easy to do. And if you don't know where it is and you're trying to find something, remember this light bulb right here is really, really helpful for us. In fact, you can see recently I put that in to find the table of contents. So you could type in table of contents and go to it right there. Or you could go find the actual tab that it's on. And I just had it here. And where did it go? Design, Layout, References. Yeah, that's where I thought it was. It's on the Reference tab. Go to the Reference tab right there. You'll see Table of Contents right there, which actually we're not going to do that just yet. What we're going to do is go to the Home tab and go to Headings. Okay, so what I want this chapter 1 to be is a heading in my table of contents. Okay, so you click that heading 1. Make sure you hit heading 1, and you'll see the font change, which you can change the font sizes of your headings if you want to right there manually, or if you click on this icon right here, you can actually go and create a style of your own, which I'm not going to mess with that. That's something you could do down the road if you want to. You could bold them. Let's just leave it at the default settings for now, as things will go a little bit faster. All right. In fact, what I think I'll do is I'll go to all of my chapters. So go ahead and follow along with me. There's chapter 2, Favorite Foods. I'm going to click heading 1. And let's go down and find where I did chapter 3 here. Where did I put chapter 3? There it is, Education. And click on heading 1. On down to chapter 4. Where are you? Chapter 4 is about my family. Heading 1. And if we keep going down, chapter 5 was about my teaching experience right there. Okay, so that kind of helps things stand out for everything. Now let's go back up and see what we can now do with our table of contents. So this is where my table of contents page was going to be. And I'm just going to go down. I'll hit a couple returns, and I'll just go right here. And again, I don't need that return at the start of the page, and I'll probably end up deleting this part later. But let's just put the mouse there for now. And now let's go over to References, which I jumped to a little bit earlier when I put the cart in front of the horse there for us. And we click on Table of Contents, and what you have here is all these different styles of table of contents that you can choose. And just for simplicity, let's just do the first one, Automatic Table 1. And so here it is, Table of Contents. Now I think you can edit in here if you want that to say table of contents, and now I really no longer need that, so I'll take that away. I just had that in there to show you that this page would be the table of contents. So what you see here is the table of contents. Chapter 1 is on page 3, and it did all that for me. Now I'm going to go back here because this stuff is getting in our way a little bit. I'm going to go back to home, and this icon right there, let's turn that off for now. What you did, these arrows, by the way, that's like a tab that it automatically inserted if you see an arrow there. But let's turn it off so we can really see what's happening on the page. So what I've done here is I've created a table of contents based on those headings. It's that simple. Okay, now let's just go look at chapter 1 again. So in chapter 1, I might have a section about the Kansas Jayhawks, my favorite Jayhawk players, Kansas City Royals, favorite Royal players, Kansas City Chiefs, and then maybe I want to have maybe a section about some of the best games I've seen in person. Like I was at the Kansas City wildcard game in 2014, which was one of the most amazing baseball games I've ever seen. So maybe I want a section in this chapter about that. So I'm going to actually put the cursor in front of Kansas Jayhawks, hit return, and go back up. And then let's say maybe I'll call this section teams. All right, and then what I want to do here is maybe I want this to be like a section in chapter 1, and then I want to have another section in chapter 1 about the favorite games I've seen in person. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight teams, make sure you're on the home tab, and go over here to heading 2. All right, and it'll just look normal like that. You'll just see it'll change the font, but it won't indent it or anything. So the first section in chapter 1 is about my favorite teams. And it said favorite sports teams. I might reword that later. And then here, this second part of chapter 1 in my book is the best games I've seen, and that's another section. So I'm also going to click heading 2 for that. So I have 2 parts of chapter 1 that I want to talk about. And then within there you can read about my favorite games I've seen. Now I think what I would like to do at the end of chapter 1, I would like to put a page break because the chapter ends, you go to the next page, right? So let's go back to insert page break at the end of chapter 1. So we have that look right there. Okay. I think you're probably following along. I'm going to get rid of that extra line. I don't like those extra lines at the end. I'm just going to pause the video, and I would like you to pause the video and go through and insert all the page breaks after each chapter. In fact, I'm going to end this video and start another one here because my time is about up here. Go to the end of chapter 2, insert a page break. End of chapter 3, insert a page break. End of chapter 4, do a page break. And then you'll be ready to go on to video number 2. All right, I'll see you in the next video.